In this video, we're going to talk about speeches for special occasions. And a special occasion could be a going away party for a coworker at a business. It could be a travel for a family member who will be gone for an extended period, something that you would say at a holiday, and as well something that you would say at a funeral or a eulogy. So one of the things that I underline with this kind of speech is that it is really an important moment. And as such, you can really make a big impact. Even though we sometimes think about these speeches and eulogy speeches and we think, wow, we have to do a eulogy speech for a class. My honest evaluation of that is that you will have opportunity to say something about someone that you love, you care about. And if you do that well, you will always be glad that you had the understanding of how to deliver that well. So it's going to be something that's very valuable to you. The occasion speech has 5 basic components. To some degree, these are interchangeable in terms of how they order, but this order that I'm going to provide for you today gives you a fairly good sense, and you can interchange them, obviously, but if you don't have a need to, then flow along with this 1 through 5, and it will serve you well as you're giving your occasion speech. So number 1, to begin with, there is this idea of relating that occurs in this kind of a speech. So you are standing before a crowd, and there is this necessity to connect with the audience and just relating to them. So there's an individual being involved, being honored, whether it's the toast or someone who has passed away. So we're going to relate with the audience. We're going to talk about our common feelings, our common perspectives, just the moment that we are in, and express some commonalities to that. That can look different in each of the different contexts, but think of it this way, that you just want to create some common ground between you and the audience that you're speaking to. Secondly, a unique perspective. Now, one of the things that makes a good speech of this form valuable is that it isn't generic. You know, Bob was a great coworker, yada, yada. That's not really specific. But if you mention that Bob was your mentor and he taught you, and you had inside jokes and these kind of unique perspectives. It's one thing to say, well, my uncle, we all knew him, he was a great fisherman. It's another to say, my uncle actually taught me how to fish, and we shared that common thing, and I always loved that about him. So it's the things that other people don't know that really make for the strength of the unique perspective. And actually, that is probably one of those characteristics that you've heard in eulogies and these kind of occasion speeches and not realize how powerful they are. But now you have a language to identify those elements. Third, within these kind of speeches, there's a lesson involved. Someone that you are toasting at a wedding, and maybe a best friend, and it sounds something to the effect like, always loved the way he or she handled himself with such grace, and always was a friend to those who needed a friend. That's certainly something that I can do in my life, and I can begin living my life by. Now, that's a little cliche, I understand, but it's not scripted, so there you go. But regardless, what we have there is something that's a takeaway. So those who have impacted our life, we have these takeaways from them. And being specific, again, going to what we don't want to do is to say something like, yes, they inspired me to be a better person. Yeah, that's not quite on track there. We need to say how they inspired us to be a better person. What is the lesson that we learned from them? In class, we'll look at all of these in greater detail and provide some more substantive examples for you. So appreciation is a twofold, because we are appreciating the person that we are expressing this speech about, whether it's a coworker who is retiring, or someone that's getting married, or someone that's passed away. So we have this aspect of appreciation, but it is both appreciating what they do in their life and having that posture, but it is also appreciating those who have gathered together, because we realize that in moments like this, when we are together, there's a strength. When we're together, that energy of gratitude can build and grow and be a positive. So we want to be sure to express appreciation. In some of these kind of speeches, there are people who will come from various places, and it will be this big gathering. And it's very appropriate to express appreciation. People should be appreciated specifically if it's appropriate. And name names. This is an important time to name names, whether it's family members, whether it's coworkers. Appreciation will go a long ways, especially when it's specific, related to something that you are appreciating, but also specific when it's related to an individual that you are appreciating. The fifth and the last is the expression of hope. And this may be the most important, it may be the most missed, but it certainly is the most significant. Now, hope can take a couple of forms. One, it can be an expression of Christian faith. We think about the hope of resurrection, the hope that we have in Christ, those along those themes, and we hear those commonly within eulogy speeches in a Christian setting, but can also relate to expressions of legacy, of an individual's life having meaning long after they're gone, their memories being remembered long after they're gone, the impact on their lives being something that isn't just at the close of this. Now, those are all eulogy related, but within a business as well. It's important that an individual would know if they're having a going away, that as soon as they walk out the door, that they're not going to be forgotten, that part of their work remains and there's a legacy that they've provided for the company, that it's been more than just making money, but there's lifelong friendships and lifelong relationships developed. So there's a phrase that I require students to memorize, and it is on the test. So I love these phrases and quotes, but this one is specifically, no eulogy is complete until hope has been delivered. So keep that in mind as you are working on your speeches, and as you follow this track, I'm confident that you'll create some excellent content.